Thanks so much for coming to the mat with me again. This practice today is dedicated to all the mamas in the world, the moms of many, moms of one, the mamas to be, moms who have lost their mamas, and to my mom, who was my first introduction to yoga at a very young age. I'm so grateful for. And this practice is also dedicated to my grandmothers who have made their transition. I've learned so much from each and every one of you. Today is a short and sweet little practice with a bit of movement and a nice rest at the end. We'll begin with Hridaya Mudra. So take your right hand over your heart or heart center, and the left hand comes right on top. And sometimes here it feels right to close the eyes or to bow the gaze. Spending a little intentional time connecting to the energy of the heart, something that mamas do all so well. And as you hold this mudra, finding breath, finding the pulse of your energy. And finding the rhythm of your heart. And then the hands come together in a slightly different way as we dissolve the mudra and clasp the hands together. Take a breath in, let the elbows rise to the sky. Exhale, push the palms away as you round the spine. You'll feel the shoulder blades pull apart, the chin comes into the chest. And then take a breath in, lift the wrists over the shoulders. Exhale, let the arms fall to either side. Maybe they rest on the ground or just come slightly behind you. Take a breath in. And then inhale, let the arms rise beside you. Wrists stack over the shoulders. Take a breath in, even bring the gaze to the sky perhaps. And then exhale, bring the hands together, resting at heart center. Another inhale, this time elbows lift again. And then exhale, press the palms away, round the spine. Another breath in, lifts the hands over the head. And as you let the breath go, the arms float gently down, resting beside you. Take a breath here. Let it go. And one more time. One more sun breath. Gaze looks up with hands. Inhale. Exhale. Hands come together at heart center. Pause. And finding that rhythm and energy field of your heart again. Your next inhale lifts the elbows. Press the palms away, round the spine. And a breath in, lifts hands overhead, and then they gently fall beside you, landing on the ground. One more breath in, let it go. And then whatever you were sitting on, if you were sitting on anything at all, take that out of the way, off to the side. And come to sit on the ground with your legs extended in front of you. Root the heels into the ground and reach through the bottom of the feet. And take a breath here in Dandasana. Palms come to rest on either side of the hips. Lifting tall through the top of the head, breath in. And then inhale, but this inhale is a little different with the hands, so they come to wash up and over the ears. Reaching tall, and then hinge forward at the hips. The hands will fall gently on either side, resting on shins or beside shins. And then slowly drag the hands back to the hips. We're starting low and slow and bringing in elements of earth, breath. The arms rise the side, either over the ears or just reach. Exhale, hinge forward at the hips. The hands float lightly on the ground like a feather resting. And then there's an invitation here just to pause and round the spine. And if you'd rather just continue and let it be one flowing motion, by all means. If you've opted to stay a while and round the spine, welcome a breath into the upper back. And then to release this forward fold, you'll look up at the toes first, come back to a flat, long, straight spine, and then drag the hands back into the hips. One more time. Hands rise to the side, maybe up over the ears, or just reaching up. This time, gaze lifts between the hands, and then exhale as you start to hinge forward at the hips. Arms fall, coming just forward as much as feels right for the back of your legs. And then if opting to pause, let the spine round. Just a quiet moment of your own breath, your breath in no particular shape or count, just let the breath be. And when you're ready to move out of our forward fold, you'll look up at the toes first, spring the back nice and flat, and then drag the hands back into the hips and drag them even farther behind you. Fingertips are facing in. Root the heels into the ground. Press strong through the hands and then lift the hips. Just a small reverse plank. This can also be done with bent knees. You can place the feet on the ground and let the front of the hips float up to the sky. Pressing down into the hands, lifting your chest. Let the chest be buoyant. And then the head falls back just behind the spine is as much as comfortable. And then set everything back down. Or reach the feet out long again. We're going to connect all these movements together. Inhale. Wash the hands over the ears. Reach up to the sky. Exhale. Fold forward. Arms fall. Briefly, the spine rounds. Inhale. Look up at the toes. Drag the hands back. Even farther back behind the hips. Press down into the hands. Root into feet or heels and lift the front of the hips up towards the sky. Take a breath here. Let the breath support you in the strong, strong shape. And then exhale, set everything back down. One more time. This time you go at the pace that you need, and I'll just be here for support. Inhale, the hands wash up. Folding forward when you're ready. Take just as long as you need. And when you're ready to transition, look up at the toes, drag the hands back behind the hips, press strongly into heels or feet and hands as the hips lift. And feel your strength in this shape. One long line from the top of the head all the way down to the heels. And then on a breath out, set everything back down. Bend the knees, let them fall over to the side. Briefly onto hands and knees as we look to transition up to standing, walking hands to feet or feet to hands, and keeping a generous bend in the knees. Breath in. And then make that walk all the way up to standing, giving lots of time for blood flow to adjust, like sand moving down an hourglass. And then when you find yourself upright again, you'll take the feet apart from each other. And briefly, just for a moment, hands on hips. And you might even bend the knees more than you would when you take a wide stance, just to see how it feels for a moment. We're setting up for goat pose. It's a very strong and steady shape. You'll bring your right hand just below the navel, right in front of the pelvis. And then your left hand, the webbing of the left hand connects with the webbing of the right hand. And we'll see just like this, webbings together. And then both palms facing in come to rest at the front of the hips. Knees are bent. And even the toes can angle in here too. So what we're doing here is stacking the bones in a particular way in goat pose that really lends itself for a strong foundation. And just to stand in for a moment, watching the body, feeling the breath move the body, letting the shoulders fall away from the ears. And pause to feel yourself in this shape, to feel your breath supporting you. And feel the rest in between all the movements of the practice. And knowing you can come back to this shape anytime the day gets a little windy from here on out. We'll release for now, so hands fall beside. And the stance comes in just a touch, right? So not as wide as you can go, but a little bit wider than the hips. And then there's a little bend off to the side. And then a little bend off to this side. And the hands can dangle here. They can also rest on the hips, right? So there's just this little pelvic rock. Gentle, slow. And then the toes turn outward. So that bend in the knee maybe becomes a little bit bigger, and maybe this rock side to side becomes a little bit more spacious. And then the hands might even frame a knee as you start to turn over to one side, and then lift your shoulder up and down as you fall to the other side. And so it's this back to back swaying and lifting and bending, and coordination of the spine and the knees and the ankles, and everything moving in concert together. And this can also be quick, and so if you're wanting to create some warmth, you can take this movement a little faster from side to side. And sometimes the visual of the sun on the rise and the moon on the fall is very representative of each of those qualities, of the solar and lunar qualities. And B, it's a nice way to coordinate breath, because the inhale goes with the rising of the sun, and the exhale comes with the rise of the moon. Take a couple more here to each side, and then as soon as you bend over to the left next, take a nice, strong, steady stance in that left foot. The right leg is going to become buoyant. So there's this balance and step off to the side that requires some strength and some steadiness. And then the hands reach out to the side for a balancing stick. Maybe that foot comes forward a little bit more, balancing stick. And then inhale as wrists and knees bend for crane. Exhale, extend arms and legs for balancing stick. Gently set the foot down like a feather floating to the ground, and then you'll move to the other side. Inhale, arms, left leg lifts, right leg is strong into the ground. Inhale as wrists and knee float up to the sky for crane or heron sometimes. Exhale, reach out to the sides. Set everything back down and take a couple of this combination of stick to crane. And moving in a way that feels just as meditative as the kind of energy here that you're looking to cultivate. And you let all this outward motion still be a way to move inside your body. When you feel complete, come back to a nice wide stance. You can certainly come back with palms stacked just as we did before in goat pose, and for a moment rest. What is it like to transition in this way with lots of rest in between? And is there a way that this can be a metaphor for your day and all the ways that you give and all the ways that that arrow points out from you, out from your heart to the world in so many ways? And then the rest is just a short redirection of that arrow back in to your heart. And then when you're ready, we'll come back to the floor, walking down wide legs, coming down to either blocks or fingertips, and then walking out just a bit so that the knees have room to bend and fold back down, and then letting yourself sit right on the bum. Well, both legs come out to the side, this time wide. And reach out through the heels of the feet. Hands can be on either side here, and just notice this wide shape for a moment. Feel the symmetry. And feel the energy coursing up the right side of your body, reaching the top of your head, the crown of your head, and then flowing down the left side, down the left torso, down the left leg, out the left foot. And then take the right heel in towards the center of your hips. You can certainly drag it in, use the aid of your hand. For setting up for Janu Shirshasana, but in a slightly different way. Hands come to frame on either side of the hips. Take a breath. Your next inhale lifts the arms, reaching up overhead. And then when you reach the top, slowly position the direction of your heart so that it shines in the direction of your toes or down that extended leg. Take a breath in. And then either by reaching like we've done before as the hips hinge forward, or you can simply crawl the hands off to the side. As you start to bring the chest in the direction of the thigh. And then when you reach this, so that the hips cannot possibly fold forward anymore without letting the spine round, then let the spine round. A good protective measure for a forward fold. The forehead comes and shines in the direction of the shin or the knee. No need to touch it. Feeling whatever you feel here in this shape. Maybe it's some sensation of lifting ribs away from hips. Maybe it's the space in the upper back, on the back of the lungs. And to release this forward fold, just as we did before, take a peek up at the toes. We'll walk the hands back in towards the hips. Hands lift, arms lift again. Inhale. And this time, exhale, as you shine the direction of the heart towards the other side, towards the side of the bent knee. And then let the arms fall as you reach the end of your twist. Left hand in front, right hand behind. Take an inhale. and exhale. Let the breath go freely. Take maybe just another breath or two here. Stay here if it's feeling welcome. You might even let, for a moment, the twist wrap around so that the head looks over the shoulder back behind you. And then unravel out of your twist. Start with the head, start from the top, and then the chest, and then the belly shines forward. One more time. Arms lift up overhead. At this time, plant your right hand into the ground. Left arm stays lifted, and reach, arcing over towards the corner of the room, really feeling here the ribs and the way that they lift off the hips. And keep your left hip rooted into the ground. And feel this one arced line between the left hip and the left pinky. Noticing what all this space may or may not create for your breath. And what an even, steady flow of breath can create for the mind. And then let that top arm fall. We'll bring this to the other side. Take your left heel into your hips, extend your right leg long. Once you're in your comfy shape here, if you notice that your knee is bent, especially when you bring it to either side, take a block and place it right underneath the knee here. There's no need to make it straight if it doesn't want to go straight. And so give yourself a little support, a little cushion. So look just like this. You'll take the flush edge, the flush long edge of the block, and place it right on the back of the thigh, just above the knee. Take a breath in. Arms reach up and overhead. Shine your heart in the direction of the extended leg, and then slowly bring your chest towards your thigh. Walking hands out, resting on either side, on chin. And then slowly finding a rounding of the spine once you've reached just as much as feels welcome for your back. Take a peek up at your toes when you're ready to release. Walk your hands back to your hips. Position the gaze and the heart forward. The arms lift, this time twisting and turning off to the left side, hands fall. Fingertips root into the ground, reach tall through the top of the head, and take that twist as deep as feels good. Letting the twist move into the cervical spine if you wish by looking over your back shoulder. And then unwind and unravel from top to bottom. So first, the eyes start to move around to the front, the chest, and then the midsection and the belly. If you had a block under here, you might want to take it out. If you haven't yet, then inhale the arms off to the side. This time, let your left hand fall. Palms press into the ground. Reach the right hand up, and then start to move this over to the side. Let the torso arc. Let the spine flex to the side. And secure that right hip into the ground if you notice that it's trying to lift off and away. Now gently guide it back in, and then feel that expanse under the right arm, through the right pinky. And then let that top arm come right back to the coolness of the earth. Pausing here, taking both knees in a bench shape and sitting cross-legged, or if legs extended is more comfortable for you, then taking that shape too, and just have a pause. And the hands can rest on the thighs, taking the tension out of the shoulders, letting the shoulders move away from the ears. Maybe there's more space here for the busyness and windiness of the mind to sort of drop into the heart, and sometimes it's even helpful to trace that place, right, from the head to the heart. If that sense of dropping in to the heart is difficult, you might even take that little journey down with the trace of your fingers. Rest there when you find. And then with the same quietness and meditative quality, you come to rest on your back, but grab a strap or a bathrobe tie or a belt, and take that in hand as you come to lay on your back. And then there's a couple options here. I'll show you both, and take which one resonates. So as you bring either knee into the chest, you could certainly stay here with hands behind the thigh and letting the knee take a couple circles around and bringing that circle into the hips. And then from here, begin the options, right? So you could, for something that feels maybe a little bit more strong and energizing and solar in quality, solar is a little bit more activating, right? You can take the belt to the ball of the foot, and just not the toes, be either ball or arch, and slowly begin to extend your leg into the strap. The hands are on either side of the strap. And then either taking some circles here and pressing the foot into the strap, much like you would press the gas pedal of a car. It's that same quality of activation. And pausing here and feeling some strength, and then slowly setting and letting the foot drop to one side, and then the foot drop to the other side with the support of your strap on either side. And playing around there, if you've opted not to take the energizing path of lifting the leg and using the strap, you'll keep your knee bent and you'll start to bring it over your midline. Crossing the leg, coming off to the other side, and moving your body into a supine twist. Arms might even reach out to the side, or you could take cactus arms off to the side. And then letting the opposite foot fall here if it's reaching the ground, and rest into the ground. And also bring a block under this knee for a little bit more rest and support in the supine twist. Revolving the spine. The twists are stimulating in their own way, but have different temperatures based on how they're done. Maybe you take one on one side, the other on the other side, and just notice the difference. Symmetry only goes as far as the surface, really. And if you opted to take a supine twist, what you'll start to do is bring your foot to the top of the extended leg, and then just reach that foot along the length of the leg on the ground, and you'll notice that you start to unwind, unravel, and you'll find yourself symmetrical again, laying on your back. And so you decide what you want to do on the other side, and either way, the knee is going to come into the chest, maybe a brief circle. And feeling a little massage here on the back of your body and the back of the hips. And mobility for the ball and socket joint of the left hip. And then deciding what path you want to travel. If you want to extend and strap again, or you could just use the hands here as the foot reaches up to the sky, and a supported reach through the leg. Or bend the knee and bring it across your midline, moving into a twist. And then arriving with both legs long and reaching out on the floor, letting the calves spread out onto the floor, the back of the leg. The arms off to the sides, maybe in a little closer to the body. And feel the back settle onto the ground. The back of the head, almost as so heavy that it could create an impression as it rests on the mat. And for a while here, as we start to walk into Shavasana, final resting pose, there's a quality of earth element here that, if you allow it, can really start to seep up from the ground into the body. The earth element is so nourishing for the tissues, especially the tissues of the nervous system. But letting your body be heavy, letting the body feel dense, and allowing some much needed rest. Stay in this rest as long as you like. There's no number or time ever assigned to Shavasana. How could there ever be a time set for the amount of rest we need? So take what you need. If you're feeling complete, you can join me here in seated. Otherwise, stay where you are, letting the transition up to be seated be gentle and slow. Knowing that rest happens in many different shapes. And a reminder and a permission if you need it, if you need to hear that rest is not earned. You're worthy of it anytime. And then finding Hridaya Mudra again by bringing the right hand to the chest, the left hand on top. A gentle bow of the head. And feel the heat of your hands and the way that we close this loop by bringing the hands to the heart, creating this circular, nourishing, cyclical flow of energy and rest within your own body. Knowing that you can bring this to yourself anytime you wish. Thank you so much again for practicing with me, and I hope to see you soon. Take care.